Here we go. Hello, healers and health seekers. It's me, Ichoda. I have not been here for a very long time on this channel, on my YouTube channel, doing any kind of videos. I've been, any videos I have been making have been on my Instagram because social media has not been my priority right now. But I have had requests recently, more than one, to make videos again, which I'm very humbled by and honored, and I feel like that's really kind of any of you to want to hear my story. And I very much love to tell my healing stories, and I like to share. So whatever I can do to support anyone else in their healing journey, I would love to do. And okay, so I feel like since it's been such a long time since I've made any kind of video, what is in order is possibly a new introduction, like who I am and what the heck I'm doing here and what my YouTube channel was ever about, and all of that. Where I've been, maybe? I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not exactly sure what you want to hear from me. So, how about this? You ask me questions, and I will endeavor to answer them in a video. I'm very rusty at this. It's been a very long time since I've done this with any regularity. I cannot guarantee that I will do it with any regularity now, because right now we are dealing with a new-ish to us house, and that means a new garden. And it is the height of planting and sort of maintaining season for the garden. And so that is what I've been doing. My primary focus in the world has been taking care of my family and taking care of the garden. And so there is so much work to do out there right now, like so much. And this is a kind of an insane time for me to be trying to make and upload videos, because yeah, it is. But you know what? There are some times in the evening when I find myself being on media that I think is counterproductive to what I want for myself. So I just, I think I'm gonna find something different to wind down with in the evenings. And I was thinking of reading and maybe editing videos. If I need to be on a screen, maybe that's what I'll do. But we'll see. I don't know about editing. Actually, this might be just uploading. I might just be uploading, because I used to edit my videos, and I'm gonna very much try not to do that now, because I don't have the time. I've come such a long way in my healing and where I am and what my new normal is, and my life has had so many changes, and is so much to discuss. So I think I don't even know where to start, and I'll give a brief synopsis. Okay. Angel of Knowledge, just please help me to give this brief synopsis and say where I was and where I am. 10 years ago, I found my health completely tanking. Well, it was more than 10 years ago. But in 2011, 2012, I found my health just slamming downhill, just like, I went from being like pretty functional to like not functioning at all, mattress island. I was allergic to the world. I was in excruciating pain all over my body 24/7, but most particularly in my lower back. I had like a burning, searing pain, just excruciating. I couldn't stand for more than 5 minutes. I had super deep chronic fatigue, like, and I mean this very literally as a comparison. Like, I was like a car out of gas. It wasn't like, oh, I was just tired sometimes or whatever, like in a normal human amount of energy day. It was like I physically could not walk. I physically could not move very far. I had a diagnosis of systemic exertion intolerance disorder. I had another diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome. I was in a wheelchair when I did leave the house, but I rarely left the house because I couldn't, because I was allergic to everything, literally everything. Would trigger me and set me into allergic reactions, and I would have anaphylaxis, and I would have hives and rashes and all kinds of deep brain fog and emotional reactions and flushing and migraines and nausea and dizziness and panic and anxiety attacks. And it was like I developed agoraphobia because I was so scared. I didn't know what was going to trigger me and what wasn't. I had all over body pain. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, migraines, arthritis, bursitis. I had PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disease, and I had the hypermobile kind, where you can do things like this, which I did not know everybody couldn't do. I had and was very flexible and bendy, and I had I'm trying to think of all of my official diagnoses. Mast cell activation disorder, or syndrome, or systemic, I don't know, they call it different things, but it's the same thing. I very easily, I researched the heck out of my symptoms all the time, literally like it was life or death, my full-time job. I did it all the time. I had a lot of brain fog, but I also am an intelligent human being who is well-versed in research, and I would be reading medical textbooks and medical books and books by this doctor and that doctor, and research papers and abstracts and full research papers and all of it. Like, the internet used to be a place where a lot more real information was readily available, and I immersed myself in that. But I also read copious amounts of books about every symptom and condition. I knew that if I went to a Lyme doctor, I could have gotten a Lyme disease diagnosis. I knew what the implications of that, and I wasn't ready for that diagnosis, so I didn't go to a Lyme doctor, but I knew that was probably next in my line of like what diagnoses I could get. But I was starting to realize that having gone to many specialists, geneticists, and rheumatologists, and allergists, and I can't even think of all the names of all the different types of doctors, naturopaths and chiropractors, and acupuncturists, and MDs, and DOs, and every kind of doctor, and all these different. I did go to a bunch of different specialists, and cardiologists, and all this stuff. I also had a diagnosis of POTS dysautonomia. And anyway, so I had gone and gone and gone and gone and to all these doctors, and I had done all this research and all this stuff, and it just was leading to dead end after dead end. And I would research and research and look for these doctors, and then I would get to the point where I was like finally able to see them, because some of them I had to drive hours to get to, and that was in and of itself an incredible ordeal, because I couldn't, that was very hard for me. And then some of them I had to pay out of pocket for, and I did every imaging test, CT scan, MRI. I did full body MRIs. I did, I hate that I did this, but I hate that I did that, but I did full body MRIs, I did CT scans, I did EEGs, EKGs, all of it, all of it. I did, I did whole exome sequencing when I was seeing the geneticist. And the reason I go like this when I say that is because it is a regret. Giving, yeah, genetic testing and all that stuff. It is I wish I hadn't. But anyway, I did that. I did all of that. And searching for answers. And then I'd get in there and I'd get with the doctor and I'd get to the results of these tests, and he would say, okay, you have this diagnosis, these are your genes, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, great. We have an answer. I thought, oh, what a relief, there's an answer. This person, has validated me. He sat down with me. He's taken hours of his time to talk to me and to do this research on me. This particular doctor has a history of it in his family. He has 7 degrees or 9 degrees. I can't remember how many. He had all these degrees. He had done all this research. He had done all these specialties, and all roads led to what he's doing now. And 40 years of dedicated work, and has been researching this specific topic because his own family suffers with it. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have answers. This is gonna be it. And I said to him, okay, great, so we have the diagnosis. Now what is the root cause? Because I thought for sure somebody like this is gonna know, right? And he looked at me and he went, oh, we don't know that. And I was like, well, then how do we heal it? What do we do? How do we take care of this? And he's like, well, I can refer you to this cardiologist. And I was like, and what will they do? And he's like, well, he takes care of the treatment. I just give the diagnosis. And I was like, and it was like my whole world just imploded. Because it's not like he was the first doctor to tell me that. They didn't know the root cause. Here's some drugs, here's some surgery. But he was the end-all, be-all doctor. He was the top of his field. He was the guy. I had waited months to see. I paid out of pocket. I drove hours to see this guy. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars I paid out of pocket. I had thousands and thousands of dollars of scans and testing and all this stuff at his request. I did all of this stuff. I did whole exome sequencing with him. I did all of those huge tests. I spent an entire day in a facility that was just, I can't imagine now, thinking of the amount of radiation that was coming out of that place. It was like a nuclear facility with all the radiation. It was like an airport. But now now that I know, but because it had all the machines, it had the full body MRI, it had a regular MRI machine, it had the brain scans, it had the CT scans, it had the everything. It had every like leading cutting edge tech diagnostic machine in that building running 24 like not 24/7 I don't think, but like all day and every day, and the amount of radiation that would be built up in those machines. And I just feel so bad for everybody that worked there, because the outcome of that for them is not promising. Anyway, so I did all of that. I did all of those things and the most advanced testing and all this stuff, and he was the guy. He was supposed to know. He had the history of this in his entire family, and he didn't know. He was just like, oh, but here's some fun stuff about these genes. And I was like, yeah, I love geeking out on this stuff too, but like, you don't know the root cause. I didn't say that to him, but that's like the facts. And I was devastated. I was devastated to learn that like I had climbed Mount Everest to reach the summit, to find the guru, the guy on the mountaintop that has all the answers. And he just went, oh, I don't know. I was devastated. And I had so many therapies, physical therapy and massage therapy and psychotherapy and all the, all that stuff. And because I also had a lot of depression and anxiety, and huge anxiety, because of all of the reactions I was having all the time. And just I had complex PTSD, not only because of my illness, but because I had had a lot of traumas in my life, a lot of traumatic events, but the most prominent one being the death of my son when he was young. He was born with a severe heart defect, and he died when he was 2 years and 9 months old. And that was in 2003. And it breaks you apart. It just destroys you. And so I had a lot of complex PTSD, and I had a lot of trauma, and then chronic illness gives you complex PTSD too, because you're gaslit by doctors, you're in healthcare professionals, you are shuffled through a system and treated like a number, and you're desperately clinging for answers and pleading for answers. You know more about all of your conditions than any of these clinicians do. And then you find the guy that you think finally someone who's really invested, and he really does know. And he did care. Let me get this straight. He was a very compassionate doctor. I loved talking to him. He was an incredible guy, brilliant mind, top of his field. It was a gift to speak to him. He validated everything I was experiencing. He listened. He talked to me like an equal and not like some dum-dum, because so many doctors talk down to you like you're some idiot, and you're like, you don't understand how much research I've done, how much I've had to learn about all of this, but they talk down to you because egos. But this guy, he was humble, he was kind, he was compassionate, he was an incredible doctor. I mean, as doctors go, he was a shining star of a doctor. So was my allergist. She was really good too. She wasn't compassionate like that, but she validated you and she knew her stuff. She was an interesting bird, but she, she was all kind of business, but she did validate you and she did know her stuff as far as her field goes. But anyway, again, another top of her field kind of people. And when you discover like, oh, there's no answers for me here, you're just left spinning. And I was in such a devastating place, and I prayed for death every day because I was in so much pain and I was suffering so much and I couldn't take care of my child, and I was just dying. I was just dying on my sofa. I couldn't make food. I couldn't take care of my child. I was watching his childhood slip away. I was watching my life slip away. I was clawing and searching for answers everywhere I could every single day. I had, groups online of people who we all had the same conditions, and we would compare notes and research and all that stuff. We would share information and doctors and resources and everything that we could, because we were all in that place of like desperately looking for answers. And then one day, I'll call her my best friend in chronic illness, because we had all the same symptoms and conditions, and we had a lot of the same interests and the same lifestyle, and we were raising our children in similar ways. And she said, I have some other friends in this chronic illness community, because she was really into biomed, and so was I. And she's like, I have other friends. So biomed is interesting because it's sort of like, it's a combination of holistic and conventional medicine, and it takes the science from all of it, and combines them, so you're using natural and conventional together, like a more holistic approach. And so anyway, that's what we were very much into, because that seemed to have all of the most cutting edge information and the most like ahead of its time type information. Only even there were so many gaps and so many holes and so many missing puzzle pieces. And so she says to me, I have some friends who have been talking to this guy, Anthony William. He is a medical medium, and and they have been having like really incredible results by using his information. And I was like, tell me more, because even though we were both like really science-minded people, we also, as we put it, we're into the woo-woo stuff, right? So and then you get to the point where you're like, I will try anything. We had both tried all the diets, okay? I had done raw vegan, but it was high-fat raw vegan. That is important to know. I had done raw vegan with all the coconut oil added to smoothies and all the nutritional yeast and all the nuts and seeds and all that stuff. I had done, oh my gosh, I can't even name them all. I had done the blood type diet. I had done GAPS. I had done paleo, autoimmune. I think I was at autoimmune paleo when the last one I had done was autoimmune paleo, but I was about to add low FODMAPs to that somehow. And I had done the lectin stuff. I had done the, I had done I'm trying to go back, because I specific carbohydrate diet, nourishing traditions. I did with like the raw milk and all the fermented foods. I did anti-candida. I did, oh my gosh. You know what? I'm probably forgetting some, but I did so many. I did Atkins, but that was like way back. And and then paleo was kind of the same, carnivore, all that. Like I did all of it. I did all of that, but it was very heavy meat, very high fat, and very little fruit. And all of them were like very little fruit, because anti-candida is, yeah, it's all of them are high fat, very little fruit in whatever different ways. They really all are. So I had done all of that, and I was going to low FODMAP, and then and she's talking about this Anthony William guy, and then I was like, oh, okay, that sounds promising, you know, like how, tell me more. And then she said, oh, there's this, Hay House is doing this summit, like, I don't know, it's like a Heal Your Life summit or something like that. And she said, he's going to be on it. And so I was like, okay. And this was in 2015. Yeah. It was, I don't remember what month of 2015, but it was before the book came out. I think the book came out in November. So it was before that. And he is doing this Heal Your Life summit. And I listened to him on that summit, and I was like, I think this is filling in some puzzle pieces here. And I was like, I need to read this guy's book, because he was talking about pathogens and viruses, and that was where all the research had left off, and everything else, where that's where all the missing pieces were, because the research papers would sometimes say like, oh, it could be viral caused, and then that was the end of it. They were like, it could be viral caused, but we don't know. And then there would be nothing else of like what kind of viruses and how and what, and please talk about the mechanism, and how does a virus cause this, and what does that look like. It would just stop there. It would be like, well, maybe it could be viral caused, and then that would just be the end of it. And warm? I think it just gave me a warning that said my device is getting warm. I don't know. Anyway, so I should probably wrap this up, but I'm just getting to the good part. So then I read the medical medium books, and I listened to that summit, and then his book was available for pre-order, and then so I didn't read the actual book until several months later, for reasons, and mostly brain fog. And but when I did read the book, I'm going to fast forward because I don't know if this is going to shut off. When I did read the book, it was like I felt a shift in my body, and I was like, this is what I have been looking for. And I had been praying, and I didn't believe in God per se. I didn't not believe in God, but I didn't know what exactly. And I was just like in this total crisis mode, and I was just like praying to whatever, like the universe, I don't know. And I was just like, take me. Just either take me or help me find the answer, because I have tried everything and I can't find the answer. I can't figure it out. And I'm trying. And here comes this book into my life. And I found the answer. And when I read it, I felt it. I felt this shift inside of me, like a paradigm shift. Like it was just like something like physically shifted. And I was like, I have to do this. And at the time, my husband was taking care of us and doing so much work. He was doing the work of doing 5-7 different jobs. And because he was taking care of me and my son, and he was making all of our food, and he was working full time outside the home, and he was doing everything. He was trying to get our home ready to sell, and trying to fix up this stupid RV so we could go travel in it, and all this stuff. Like, not travel for fun, but travel for my health. It was a whole thing. That's another story. But like, he was doing so many things, and he was so overextended, and I was like, I cannot ask him to learn another way of preparing food. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I just have to try. And in the first book, the medical medium book, Secrets Beyond Chronic and Mystery Illness and How to Finally Heal, it has the 28-day cleanse. And I was looking at that, and I was like, I have no idea. I can't do this. I know I can't do this, because I could only stand 5 minutes a day and at a time, and I couldn't do hardly anything, like, ever. I was just so debilitated. But I could do one thing a day. I could do one thing. I had been doing this QSAC protocol, supplement protocol, and it was sort of helping over months and months and months. And it's funny, because she had like these bits and pieces that I now know were taken from medical medium information, but they weren't really right, and the whole thing put together was just not quite there. But it had been enough that I could do one thing a day, and usually that one thing was like make a smoothie. And so and of course these smoothies were loaded with fat, coconut oil and stuff, but like so bad. But I was like, okay, if I can make maybe I can do this instead, this celery juice. Let me just see if I can do this celery juice. And at the time we didn't have a juicer, we just had the Vitamix, and I would blend it up in the Vitamix, and then and at the time I even added a little water to it, because I didn't know better. And I had so much brain fog, and I guarantee you, whatever I did of the 28-day cleanse, it was not the 28-day cleanse, but it was enough of the 28-day cleanse that it moved the needle. And when I started doing the celery juice, within literally the first day, I felt it. Because after I drank that celery juice, now it went straight through me, in one end and out the other, in liquid form. It went straight through me. But I had enough energy to then make a smoothie. And so I was like, okay. So I did that. And then I had enough energy to make a salad for lunch, which was unheard of, because a salad is prep. Like, that's, you gotta chop vegetables and stuff, and it's a whole thing. And this was unheard of. And that's 3 things in one day. That is miraculous. I am not kidding you. From where I was, that is absolutely, it was miraculous. And I was just like, is this gonna happen again, or is it a fluke? Because I just was like, I've been let down so many times, and I wasn't prepared for it to happen again. But I enjoyed it while I had it, right? And I thought, but then it happened 3 days in a row. And my husband would make dinner when he came home. And it happened 3 days in a row that I had enough energy to do those 3 things. I made my celery juice, I made a smoothie, I made a salad. And I couldn't believe it. And so when it happened 3 days in a row, I thought, oh my gosh, this is real. Because nothing had done anything like that to that point. Nothing had. And I knew I had to just continue. And so I did. And like I said, did not do the 28-day cleanse perfectly by any stretch of the imagination. But what I did do was take out the foods that fed pathogens, and I did try my best to follow that cleanse with all the brain fog that I had and all of the mistakes that I made. And it still moved the needle for me enough that I just was like, this is it. This is it. And I don't want you to think that I went from Mattress Island to getting up and jumping out of, like, it was not a quick process by any stretch of the imagination. But to go from 0 gas in the tank to having enough fumes to make it through 3 things in a day was huge. Of course, I had to rest a lot in between. And of course, I had to I was still on Mattress Island for the most part. I was still there, stuck on my sofa or in bed. But I could start to make stuff for myself. And that was monumentally huge. And that was the beginning. And that was 10 years ago. And I am in a whole different world now of functionality. And it's almost like a distant memory. It isn't. It's still there, etched in my soul, what happened. And I pray I never forget fully. But I guarantee you I had like over 100 symptoms and conditions. Like the last count, over 115. And so many of them have resolved, and so many of them have improved so greatly that I have gone from being, bedridden and allergic to the world to up and about, taking care of my family all day, standing all day in my kitchen, taking care of my family, not just my kitchen, but like back and forth through different parts of my house and in my garden, and taking care of my garden, which is a huge garden at this point. But like, worlds have changed. My world has changed. My life, my existence is a miracle. I was going to die. I'm not kidding you. I was on my way out. And I've had 10 more years because of this information. And 10 more years with my family and my loved ones. I have gained incredible soul friends from the medical medium community. Incredible people. Just shining lights in this world. I have met so many incredible people. I have had so many mind-blowing spiritual experiences from using this information, and my whole entire worldview has shifted in what I would say is the best way. My eyes have been opened in the best way, and I can't even put words to the profound spiritual growth that has happened and what I have learned. And it has been the greatest gift to my life that I could ever imagine, finding the medical medium information. So I said I was going to wrap this up like 10 minutes ago or more. I am not short-winded. But there's just so much to tell about my story, and I have not told it in a long time. And okay, so what I will do is wrap it up here, because I will say this: medical medium information is an absolute miracle. And if you are in any way on the fence or wondering if this works, I will tell you that I personally have witnessed thousands and thousands of people heal from this information in the last 10 years. I have witnessed this myself with my eyes. I have talked to people. I have watched people on social media. I have friends in real life and via social media that I have been in contact with for years, a decade at this point, and I have watched people heal. I have seen miracles happen. There is no doubt in my mind, no doubt in my mind that medical medium information is the way out of the hell of chronic illness. And I want to say this about medical medium. He sells nothing. Most authors, their books are a calling card for them to sell supplements or merchandise or whatever, programs or whatever they're doing. All of his information is free. You can get his books free at the library. He says it all the time. He has a website full of information, all free. He has a free healing path program on his website. There's a whole 101 getting started page on his website, but the books are crucial to healing. You have got to get the books. Seriously. Best investment you will ever make in your health. I recommend buying them. You can get them at the library, but why wait? They have always, every library, huge waiting lists for medical medium books. Just buy the books. Best investment you will ever make in your health. Least amount of money you will have to pay. Now, that's not to say that the supplements, because he recommends only the very best supplements. He has a directory on his website with the supplements, the brands. I'm sorry. It's not one like brands, it's very specific supplements that he recommends, like this product from this brand. There is one company, one supplement company he stands behind. He is not affiliated with it. He's not a shareholder. He doesn't own the company, nothing, and that's Vimergy. They are, and I can attest to this because I have been taking supplements for literally decades of my life, and I have watched the supplement world. I've been very in tune with and hands-on in the supplement world. Like, I know these supplements, and I knew what was the best of the best before, or I thought I did. Actually, I watched Vimergy in the last 10 years like rise as a company, because they were a tiny company that had like a couple of products, and then now they're this like global company. And that is, I think, largely in part from medical medium putting the word out about them, and then also hugely in part because Vimergy makes the purest, the best, no additives, no fillers, nothing impure in their supplements. And I am not affiliated either in any way. This is not an advertisement for Vimergy. I use these supplements for my family, and I wish Vimergy made every supplement that is like a medical medium recommended supplement. I wish they make every single one of them, because they are the highest quality and I trust them the most. Anyway, but that is through experience. Like, their supplements have helped save my life, and they have gotten me out of so many jams. And medical medium has specific ways of using them, like sometimes it's like therapeutically, that are so helpful. Anyway, but so he's got all of this information, all of this free information. He has lives on YouTube and Rumble. He has podcasts that are all free. So many podcasts, hundreds and hundreds of lives, hundreds and hundreds of podcasts. There's so much information, but nothing beats the books. You have got to get the books. You have got to read the books. And I love to recommend starting with medical medium, Secrets Behind Chronic and Mystery Illness, How to Finally Heal, Revised and Expanded Edition. I would start with the Revised and Expanded Edition because there's new information in it that wasn't in the first book. It is like twice. It's like a whole new book plus the first book. And it's incredible. And it has his backstory. So it's the book I started with. It's the book that helped heal me. I mean, they all, look, every medical medium book helped heal me. I have every single one of them. I've read every single one of them multiple times. They are my go-to. They are my reference books. They are my resource. They are everything to me. And I recommend owning all of them. But if it's like, okay, you're going to start with one, I would start with that one, or Cleanse to Heal. But you can't go wrong. You look at the medical medium books and you go, what resonates with you? You pick one. You can't go wrong. You're not going to go wrong. I just love that one particularly because it has his backstory, like the full backstory. And I sob every time I read it. It is so touching and so beautiful. And like, what I mean by his backstory is how he came to have all of this information, and like who he is, and then who, just everything. I don't want to give spoilers. I want you to read it. I want you to read it. But it is the most powerful thing I have ever done for myself. And I am so grateful because I have not only healed physically, but I have healed spiritually. I am at peace about having lost my son, and I will do a whole nother video about that if you want me to, because that's a whole video. So anyway, I want you now, having given all of this, my testimony for my healing, to ask me questions, because I think there must be questions, and I think I'm not sure what to talk about next exactly. So you tell me what you want me to talk about. You ask me questions and I will do my best to answer them. Please don't get too personal. I'm not going to divulge too many personal details about my life, but I don't know. I'll just, whatever. We gotta keep some things private. But I'll talk about my health all day. And I'll talk about my garden all day. Because that's sort of that's my whole thing. Yeah. So if you have any questions about, can I heal using this information, the answer is yes, you can. If you learn it and you apply the tools correctly, and you absolutely can. And you don't have to think that you have to do it all overnight either. It's a process. It takes time. I did it all wrong at first. Well, not all wrong. I did some of it right. But the details really matter in healing, and I did miss a lot of the details. But over time, I got them and I put them in place, and it's not like I screwed everything up or anything. You don't have to worry about making mistakes, because that's part of your journey and it's part of your learning experience. And the biggest, most important thing is having compassion for yourself and understanding that you are not broken. Your body is not attacking itself. You can heal. There are tools. There is a way. There is a way out of the hell of chronic illness. You are not alone. You do not have to suffer alone. There is a way out. And you can access these tools. Even if you don't have a lot of money. You might not be able to access every tool if you don't have a lot of money, because supplements do cost money and food does cost money. But there are always tools in the medical medium books that you can use no matter what, because so many of them are free. Like all of the meditations and the angels and all of that is free. All of the spiritual information is free. And everybody has to eat, right? So the mono cleanse is like one of the least expensive cleanses. Anyway, there's so many things that I could say and keep saying and keep talking about, but this video is almost an hour and I really should stop. So I hope that is a good reintroduction to who I am. I love you. Please ask your questions, and I look forward to doing this again. It's been a long time and I've really missed it a lot. Life happens though. So I love you, and I hope I can do more of these in the future, and I hope that this answered questions for people. I wish you the best on your healing journey. If you want to leave a comment and ask me to pray for you about something, I am so happy to do that. So I will pray for you. I love to pray for people. I love to pray for your healing, and that came also through medical medium information. And if you watched this, if you watched all of this, holy moly, thank you. I hope you found value in it. And again, I love you. And so many blessings on your continued healing. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.